What's up, everybody, and welcome to 49ers Breakdown. My name is Aaron, and I'm excited to be on tonight to talk about undrafted free agents. I thought about doing like a deeper topic and going to a whole bunch of stuff, but we need to kind of dig into these undrafted free agents. And, I'm pleased. I'm overall pleased with the draft and this free agent list. When you look at the depth in the draft, man, some of these guys we got in, free agency through the undrafted free agent process, they stick out. Guys like Donovan West. I mean, some people had him number 2 on their boards as far as centers go. So for him to drop into undrafted free agency is big, especially for the 49ers, because they don't know the situation right now with center Alex Mack. So I appreciate you being here. Definitely like, subscribe, share if you would. Always. And, we're just going to try to grow this channel. If you guys have any games or any type of breakdowns you specifically want me to get into, I will use my experience. I've been a head football coach for 2 different high schools, coached a lot of football, coached NFL players. And just, I want to be able to be a resource for Niner fans, for people. The Niner community of content creators is really good. I like them all. Even Iggy. I'm Iggy quality control, actually, in fact. So, I'm just playing, but I do really enjoy them all. It's really fun to watch them, and I don't think we need more 49ers content. But at the same time, I'm happy to be here and just, break down some football, break down some tape, and as always, we'll get right into it. So thank you again for being here, and let's get this going, shall we? All right, then we're gonna jump in. First player we are gonna jump in with is the one, the only. Let's share this screen. Somebody, come on, Tay Martin. But first, before we jump in with Tay, let's take a look at the entire list here. All right, so there's 14 signed players. Kevin Atkins, Jeremiah Gamel, Taylor Hawkins, Quantrez Knight, Tasir Mack, Tay Martin, Jordan Mason, Marcelino McCrary-Ball, Segun Olibi, Leon O'Neal Jr., Jason Poe, Shams Schluter, Garrett Walton, and Donovan West. Now, the players that you would think have a great chance of making this team, obviously, would be Donovan West. Donovan actually played around the offensive line. Obviously, he was strictly a senior or a center as his his senior year, and played well. He's good size, good speed, good makeup, and we'll get into breaking him down. We're not going to break down all these prospects, but I have selected a few that I really want to look into. Garrett Walton, a tight end from North Carolina, 6'4", 245. Decent hybrid type player. I don't see him making the team. Sam Schluter, big boy, 6'6", 309. You never know, Sam. You could compete. I think Sam has a chance to be on the practice squad. Jason Poe, really like the athleticism of Jason Poe. If Jason Poe was 6'4", there'd be no joke about him. Obviously, he would be just, everybody's favorite player. But with Jason Poe, he is undersized. So is he a hybrid? Is he a tweener? Can he find a role? That's going to be critical for him going into camp. Man, my stomach be bubbling right now. Leon O'Neal Jr. I like Leon. I think he's a good player. I'm not going to break him down tonight. I think he's on the outside looking in for a couple reasons we'll get into. But he struggles a little bit in areas of speed and area coverage from a safety position. We don't need strong safeties. We need free safety help. That's just my opinion. And I say that because if you can play free safety in the NFL, you can slide down and play strong safety. You see the Niners do that. Sometimes they'll bring Jimmy down into the box. But as far as just playing strong safety, then you become a tweener of playing like outside linebacker. And we've seen that with some 49er players in the past. And I really just think we're loaded at that position. So I don't see a real role for Leon. Segun Olubi, when it comes to linebackers, and he can play. Same with McCrary-Ball and same with Jeremiah Gamel. There's just no room on this team for linebackers. So I don't see any linebackers making the team. If they ball out, maybe they get on the practice squad. Jordan Mason is an intriguing prospect at running back. His sophomore year, almost hit 1,000 yards. Was on the Doak Walker list the following year. Then he kind of fell off. New offense. And this last year, he played pretty well. But he has intriguing traits that we'll look into. Tay Martin, he's the one I'm going to start with. He's my favorite, pick here as far as undrafted free agent. He'd be my number one guy, him and Donovan West. But he's a solid player. Really like Tay Martin. Saw him at Washington State before he transferred to Oklahoma State. I think he's a great pickup, especially in undrafted free agency. Taysir Mack, speed guy, good player, tall, little undersized, didn't have a ton of catches, but he was a big play guy, averaging over like 15 yards a catch. Quantrez Knight, the numbers aren't really there when it comes to speed, strength, all that type of stuff, but Quantrez can play. One of my favorite guys in this group. Taylor Hawkins, there's something about Taylor Hawkins. I haven't figured it out yet. We're going to watch the film. Help me figure that out. But there's something about Taylor Hawkins. Jeremiah Gamel, good player, just not enough room on this team for linebackers. And then Kevin Atkins, a solid defensive lineman. He had a lot of tackles for loss for a defensive lineman. I believe he had 7 sacks his senior year from the interior. Kevin, if it was any other team, you might have a chance. Maybe he gets stacked on the practice squad, or maybe you just blow people's minds and make the team. That's true for every single one of these guys, right? They all have a shot. But I don't see Kevin specifically making the team. Let's jump in, first of all, with Tay Martin. I like Tay. You see his size, 6'3", 188. He ran a 4.58 40, okay? Now, when you look at that size and you make comparison, when you think of a guy like Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings fell to the 49ers because he ran a 4.7 at the combine. Yeah, a 4.7. So you got a guy like Tay Martin coming in and running a 4.58. Now, I'll be honest with you. He reminds me of Jawan Jennings. Similar. I would actually say he's a little bit more smoother and polished coming out of college in his route running game. In addition, he played, in a heavy pass system under Mike Leach at Washington State. There was coaching changes, uncertainty if the Pac-12 was going to play football during during the COVID status. So he went to OSU. This is a guy in Tay Martin, knowing a little bit of his background. His mom died when he was a kid, and his dad was in jail at that time. So he had to become the man of his house, and he found his mom passed away. And then if you know anything about Washington State, the quarterback committed suicide, one of their safeties, overdoses. I mean, he's been through some tragic things where, he's had people close to him pass away, but especially his mom. He wears a necklace with his mom's picture around his neck. I really like this dude's character, you guys. And I think that he has a great chance at the very least making the practice squad. His special teams value is going to determine whether he can be that sixth receiver, right? The Niners are deeper at receiver than people think. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the at the depth chart at the end of looking at these undrafted free agents. But Tay has as good a chance as anybody. I love his character. He's got the speed. He does a really good job in and out of his breaks. He knows how to set DBs up. With body position. He does a great job on comeback routes, on back shoulder fades, does a nice job really knowing how to push and let up off the gas to set his defensive backs up when getting in and out of his routes. Uses his hands really well. Really good athlete. I like Tay Martin. So let's take a look at his film. I want to show you film from him. This is Washington State film. You can watch the Oklahoma State. He had a great game against Notre Dame in their bowl game. 3 touchdowns. Right? What he had to lose, Tay? But you can see here, he's cleaning his route. 6'3", you guys. 6'3". So he does a nice job breaking down his feet, getting in, getting out of his routes, right? You can tell he's a little lanky like Juwan, but quick on his feet. And I'm watching the Washington State highlights because this is when I remember watching him the most, okay? But he's the type of guy that you see get separation. And, they say, he doesn't have the burner speed. Well, he's a 4.5 guy at 6'3". That's pretty nice. And you got to remember, some guys have game speed and some guys have track speed, right? But you see how he turns his body, gets in good body position, and he strides well, light on his feet, catches the ball nicely in traffic. You're going to see him get in situations where he's got to make plays in traffic. You can see they like to go up top to the guy. Well, if they're constantly going up top to the guy, he's got to be able to have the position to get over the top, right? You'll see back shoulder fades, right? This is the type of attribute you want to see from a wide receiver that's going into the NFL. Quarterbacks like to be able to and need to be able to make back shoulder throws in the NFL. So he did a real nice job. You can see he gains separation and runs away from people. Okay, for a guy that's 6'3", come on, I mean, come on. That's like I can dig it. And you got to remember, we're looking at an undrafted free agent getting this type of separation, making these type of plays. He can run all the routes. He has a lot of experience. He's 24 years old. Really had good numbers this last year. 11 touchdowns at Oklahoma State. Again, can stop on a dime. See those cuts? That's difference. There's, when you have athletic ability like that, there's a difference between 40 times and being able to juke, being able to cut, being able to set people up like that, being able to come back to the ball, fight for balls, running the in cuts, and taking the ball to the house. So these are, again, highlights when he was younger. He's played since a true freshman. And, you really got to like Tay Martin. I think that the 49ers found a diamond in the rough here. He's got a really high character, really good talent, good attributes across the board. It's hard to find a weakness in his game. Of course, he can get stronger. That would be the one thing that you really want to see Tay do, is get stronger. But that's what an NFL locker room is for. And a guy like him, you kind of look at maybe redshirting him his first year when he's on the practice squad. But when I think about the receivers the Niners have had on the practice squad, well, if you can give me a guy like Tay Martin, right? If you can give me a guy like Tay and put him on our practice squad, geez, he's going to be giving our guys a really good look. Compared to guys that we've had in the past on the practice squad at receiver, this guy, I mean, he's a baller. So I really like what we're seeing here. Now, when he came out of high school, the reason why they're showing this right here, when he came out of high school, he originally went to Tulane, and he was playing football and basketball. So he's a very good athlete. He decided just to play football. And if you play receiver, a good place to go would be Washington State when they were slinging the rock around with Mike Leach, right? So can't sleep on Tay Martin. Can't sleep on Tay Martin. I think it's a quality play by the Niners to pick this kid up. A deep receiver room already, but I like Tay Martin. The next guy I want to look at is Taylor Hawkins. And let me just say, with Tay Martin, I expect him to be on the practice squad at the very least. Taylor Hawkins is intriguing. Now, again, you're looking at a guy that's over 6 feet running a 4.5. Now, there's a lot of guys this year that were running 4.3s in the combine and whatnot. So 4.5 doesn't sound fast anymore, right? But Taylor Hawkins is a guy that kind of jumps off the film. I think the issue people have with Taylor is he's not extremely fast, and they didn't know where to play him. He played a lot of corner at San Diego State. But what I like about Taylor is Taylor tackles. Okay, so we're gonna check out his film right now and take a look at Taylor Hawkins. When I look at Taylor, I see a guy that's just like has not peaked athletically. You can see him jump a route here, get to the house, nearly anyways. But he's long. You see how thick his body is? But he's athletic in Division I to play corner. Now he's projected to play safety in the NFL. What I like about Taylor is I can see him playing the free safety spot or the strong safety spot. He has the speed and the recognition to play free safety. And so it's and see how he likes the contact. So, I mean, forcing a fumble there, coming off the corner, it's really nice to see a guy want to lay the hat from the corner position. Now here they try to throw back BAP. Again, laying the wood on a fullback. That's number 45. So he's laying the wood on a big boy. He's not afraid to lay the hat. You guys are going to see this repeatedly. See him come up right here. Bap! Laying the hat. This is a guy that's going to come at you. He's not afraid. He'll flex on you. Does a good job. Again, watch this. From distance, he's over 10 yards away, comes up, prevents the first down. A little high, that might draw a penalty, but he's the type of guy that wants to lay the wood. And so I really like what I see from Taylor. I think that it's very beneficial if you can play safety and corner. If you're a guy that can play corner at a high level and yet you come up and hit like that, then you're a guy that can easily transition into the safety role at the next level. So you see he likes to flex. He likes to flex. And what I like about him, you'll see him. He's a dog. Like he does not play around. He's cocky. You know what I mean? He knows what he's about. He knows what he is. And see that? He likes to hit. He likes to hit. So when I see Taylor Hawkins play, I'm looking at somebody that I think can easily fill a role. Again, coming off the edge there, making a tackle on a blitz there in the backfield and showing you his muscles. Wow. Coming up and really laying the wood. This is not a guy that's trying to make the tackle. This is type of guy that's trying to come up, force a fumble. Nice job of hitting and shedding here and making the tackle. So he does a good job using his hands, hitting, shedding, making the tackle. Attributes you have to have as a strong safety. Right there, he's playing basically strong safety because of the formation there. And he prevents a first down on a third and short. Here he's in press on the outside, cover one. So not a lot of safety help. As you can see, the safety gets there late, but what does he do? Bats that ball away. Gets the interception. And what's interesting about Taylor is he's in press coverage right there. Thicker player. Now, he's very good with his hands. Now, remember, they're projecting him to be a safety. If you're able to get your hands on balls, anticipate routes, and tackle like that from the corner position, those are attributes that translate very, very well. Safety, again, very good job. Very, very good job. Route anticipation, flipping his hips down, making a play. He's playing top shoulder, and that's what he has to do to be an effective defensive back. One-on-one, you guys. One-on-one on the outside, and he's making a play. So, and that's against Utah. Obviously, Utah was a decent Pac-12 team. Played in the Rose Bowl, won the Pac-12. So, it's not like he's playing all slouches. Once again, okay, one-on-one, top shoulder, making a play. He's making the receiver become a defensive back. Hawkins is a dog. This is a guy I see at least on the practice squad. I was concerned that the Niners did not address the free safety spot. I thought that they should have picked a guy like Verone McKinley to at least pick him where they picked Brock Purdy, get him as an undrafted free agent. But when I started looking into Taylor Hawkins, I started seeing a guy that they see, he played corner, but they see him playing safety. So what I like about Taylor is he seems like a guy that has not peaked athletically. When you look at a kid play, when you look at his attributes, he's still maturing. And I mean, they put him on an island, you guys. They run a lot of cover one. You can see him at the bottom of the screen. He's climbing to that top shoulder. He has a lot of makeup speed. So here's a guy over 6 foot, about 6'2", running a 4.5. They're not afraid to put him on an island. Man-to-man coverage. This free safety is never getting there when they're running Monday or cover one. So, again, I really like what I see. You see him in press coverage, cover one. They're going to attack him. The quarterback looks off so the safety can't get there. And he does a decent job with his makeup speed. I mean, they have to have a lot of confidence to be able to put him to the short side of the field and play cover one like that. You see him here, top shoulder, coming down, making the play, climbing underneath the route, making the play, almost getting an interception. And early on, we saw a lot of these. Okay, a guy that loves to stick his nose in there and make a play. A guy that wants to come up and make a play. He's not afraid of tackling. In fact, he loves to tackle and show you his muscles. So when I look at Taylor Hawkins, I'm seeing somebody that's at the very least going to make the practice squad. I think that he is a very good football player. a very good football player. Now, obviously, he didn't get drafted. And I think that's because he's kind of a tweener. Well, he played corner. He ain't going to play corner in the NFL. I do not see that translation. But because he had to play corner in the NFL, it enables him to be a hybrid safety where he can play either free safety or strong safety, solid on special teams because he tackles so well. He doesn't just tackle, he tackles well. And he loves to tackle. He loves contact. A lot of really good attributes from Taylor Hawkins. I see Taylor Hawkins surprising people and making this team. At least the practice squad. I don't know that he's going to make the 53. I think he's on the outside in looking at making the 53. I mean, that would be a surprise to me. But if Tavarius Moore was to get hurt again or not be able to come back, I think he could fill that spot. He's a nice player. Nice player. College career with, over 170 tackles. 20 passes defended, 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, first team all Midwestern Conference. First team, y'all. First team. So a guy that we get in undrafted free agency fills that center position that I was just a little bit nervous about, and he fills it nicely. I think he's got a lot of upside. And I like I said before, I do not think he's peaked athletically. I see more coming from the kid. So that's exciting to me. That's exciting to me. The next player I want to look at is a running back out of Georgia Tech named Jordan Mason. Okay. Now, Jordan Mason was really nice as a sophomore. Okay. He played as a freshman as well. One thing I will note about all these last 3 guys, they're all running 4.5s. I mean, they're all in that, good speed range. 4.5 used to be fast, right? Well, this draft, there were some really fast players that really popped off the board. But Jordan Mason was a guy that as a sophomore, he was coming out of his sophomore year. Look right here. He was on the Doak Walker Award watch list, right? He's on the preseason Maxwell Award watch list. Okay. The guy was balling out. He had over 800 yards rushing as a sophomore, really did well. Now they changed offensive systems. He became a rotation back, but let's take a look at Jordan Mason's film. I think what you're going to see are some attributes that the 49ers like. It's interesting. When you see the backs that the 49ers pick, you see some characteristics that make sense, right? So this is a G concept. They're pulling the backside guard, okay? But he has nice one cut ability and jump cuts. So you see him one cut and getting it, right? Is he running by people all the way down the field? Not necessarily, but he has that great short area quickness. Once again, now this would be a split zone concept. And you got to be encouraged because he doesn't get caught from behind against Miami, right? So I'm intrigued. I got to be honest. If I'm JaMycal Hasty, if I'm nervous. If I'm Jeff Wilson, I'm working. I better be working because these running backs that are being brought in can flat play. Once again, split zone concept, okay? Does a great job pressing the hole. He can come further outside or hit it back up in there. He hits the cutback right off the jump and just splits these defenders. And these third-level defenders, these safeties, corners cannot catch him. That's intriguing. You can see his low body stature. Strong player, over 200 pounds, closer to 220. So you see that frame that he has. I mean, it's interesting what the Niners are getting here. Split zone concept. Okay, presses the hole, was going to hit that far cut back, but just centers it out to the belly zone right there, and does a great job bursting, splitting, and getting to the third level defender. Cannot catch him. I like it. And remember, he was a Doak Walker candidate. This guy had a lot of juice coming out of his sophomore year. Then COVID happened and caught a lot of people off guard. Tough runner, right? That's against Notre Dame. Tough running, not easy to bring down. Obviously, there's a cover zero blitz there at the goal line. He's able to punch it in. Tough running, good low center of gravity, no false steps. You don't see a lot of false steps. I like that in running backs. I don't want a guy that's jumping around too much. He does a good job of getting on his horse and hitting it and getting it. So again, that's against Florida State. So you know there's some speed on the field, and he gets to the pylon. That play, he did not look like he was going to get to the pylon, but he did a good job getting to the outside, carrying the ball on his outside arm, planting, turning upfield, and what? Extending to get the touchdown. Here's an outside zone play. So this is a play that he would see a lot running for the Niners. And I mean, he's just making guys miss here. Making guys miss, running hard. Okay, outside zone. Presses it, breaks the tackle at the line of scrimmage, cuts back, breaks 3 tackles there, you guys. Okay, and gets to the, third level. Holding on to the football. Again, strong center of gravity. He's really strong. Running a little speed option to the flex. It does a nice job staying inside the pylon to the short side of the field. I was intrigued watching this guy. I'm like, another running back? Of course he's not going to make the team, but I'll tell you what. If I'm JaMycal Hasty, I'm nervous because this dude can produce and he runs tough. Obviously Hasty's got ability, right? But he's not that tough runner. He's really light. Mason does a good job. Now here's another speed option, but he has that vision to cut it back up instead of getting it outside right there. And that's against Clemson, getting in the end zone there. So I like what I see from Jordan Mason. I like what I see. I think that he's a really good candidate for the practice squad. When you're looking at the linebacker, or the running back situation for the 49ers, obviously you got a guy like Elijah Mitchell, which you expect to start. You got a guy like TDP that you expect to back him up. Then you got a guy like Trey Sermon that you think, well, isn't he supposed to be in that mix? Isn't he supposed to be up there? So there's 3 guys you would expect to be on the roster. I mean, if Trey Sermon isn't on the roster, they really missed. I think they give him at least another year. And I would imagine that Ty Davis Price is going to light a fire under Trey Sermon. So you got to imagine that over these next 3 months, Trey Sermon's going to work harder than he's ever worked in his life. That bodes well for the Niners. After that, you got Jeff Wilson. Well, Jeff Wilson's a little long in the tooth. Do you want to keep him around? Because he does have value on special teams. JaMycal Hasty. Well, he can do a little kick returning. Not the greatest special teams performer all the way around. And he's kind of a scat back. Doesn't really bring me a lot of power. I didn't have enough confidence in Hasty to run the rock. Instead, I went with Deebo Samuel. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with a guy like Mason, Jordan Mason. I would not be surprised if Jordan Mason can beat out Hasty and Wilson. It depends on his special teams play. It depends on how well they project him in playing in special teams. But at the very least, I think Mason is a guy that sticks to the practice squad. I really do. I like his attributes. He was really good as a sophomore. And he has the type of running style that the Niners are looking for. And he's strong, and he's got that low center of gravity, that low build. I like it. I like it a lot. It kind of reminds me of Alfred Morris, right? The next guy I want to look at, you guys, this guy, I don't know how he fell this far. Donovan West. He's the number 2 rated center on the NFL Draft Buzz. Now, a lot of people had him lower than that, but there were people that had him rated at number 2. 6'4", 300, junior. He played up and down the offensive line. Okay, well, this was actually, I think he's a senior, but his senior year here, he played primarily center. Okay, so the last year here at Arizona State, he's playing center, but he played up and down the line. He has experience doing that. What I like about Donovan is his athleticism. Okay, now a lot of people say that maybe he's not as athletic as you think, but I think he does a good job anchoring, nice job with his hands. And notice here, he's getting out on a swing screen. Okay, so that's a dual screen concept where they can throw a screen one way or a screen the other. So you got a running back screen that way, a wide receiver screen this way. Okay, so again, so you don't see the complexity of the play, but he does a great job selling that, then getting to the second level. This is an outside zone, okay? So this is the same type of play you're going to see from the 49ers. Notice his hand placement. Notice him finish that block. The guy he's blocking is on the ground. Okay, so that's the type of thing that we want to see. We want to see our linemen finish blocks. And remember, he's not a small guy, 6'4", 300, right where he needs to be. And from my perspective, you get with Chris Forrester, you're already better, right? Chris Forrester is absolutely sensational offensive line coach. He always has been and been known, especially to teach zone blocking very well. On this play, again, you're seeing him reach, okay? Another outside zone concept, okay, where everybody's reaching. And for him to dump that guy is exactly what you want to see, okay? Right here, okay, double team at the point of attack. He's blocking that guy. His guy's in the back of the end zone. He's still blocking, okay? So he's doubling, right? He's still pushing when the guy's in the back of the end zone. Once again, getting out here, finding work on a screenplay. Right? See that? So selling it, swatting, clipping, getting to the next level, getting to the second level, up to where? The third level defender. You got to like that. For him to be that athletic, he does a good job of body position. You can tell he has athletic ability. Right here, I really like how he gets in on the double and gets help. So from my perspective, Donovan West at the very least, right? Donovan West at the very least makes the practice squad. I don't think there's any way he does not make the practice squad. For one, they gave him $100,000 guaranteed. But what really sticks out is his size, strength, mobility, his attributes overall. I think that he's the perfect center for the 49ers system. His experience running outside zone really bodes well for him. There's not a lot of weaknesses in his game. I think that the one thing they'd like to see him do is get stronger. But that's what an NFL locker room does for you. Right, that's what an NFL locker room does for you. So I see Donovan West making the practice squad. I'm intrigued by this free agent class, the undrafted free agent class the Niners got. The depth in their draft, the depth in this undrafted free agent class is good. I think this bodes well for the Niners. In past years, some of these guys would be making the team. Now, if Alex Mack retires, well, there's an opportunity that Donovan West does make the active 53. But, Alex Mack is only playing one more year, likely, if he does continue to play. So if you can stack a guy like Donovan West on the practice squad and let him learn under Alex Mack for a year, how well is that going to bode for him? Let him get into the NFL weight room for a year? How well does that bode for him? I really like this, guys. I would have been fine with us picking this guy. Again, a lot of people had him as their number 2 center in the entire draft, and he falls out of the draft. Now, there were other guys like, Jurgens and Fortner. There's a lot of good centers in this draft. I like what we did. I think he fits. I think he checks all the boxes. Is he perfect? No, but I think he's a great fit for the Niners scheme. The next guy I want to look at, you guys, Quantrez. He's got a long name. You're about to see it. Quantrez Knight. Have you seen him play? Have you seen this dude play? Okay, now look at his 40 time here. It shows it a 4.6. I think unofficially he ended up running a 4.5. Okay. 6 foot, senior. And position what? DB. Now you're going to see him play safety, nickel, a little bit of corner. He's out of Florida. Okay. Went to UCLA. But when you turn on the tape, there's something about this dude. I'm telling you, there's something about Quantrez Knight. Okay? You don't believe me now? Watch. You don't believe me now? Watch this. Coming off the nickel. Blap! Okay? I see shark in this guy. I see shark. Blap! Right? I'm seeing the shark. I see the same number. I see the same playmaker. He's always around the ball. I see K1 Williams right here. What am I looking at? It's interesting. Remember, a lot of guys run great when they take off the pads and get in their track stance and run a 40. And the other guys, they play on fire when they put the pads on. This kid plays on fire, y'all. I'm telling you, when I watch the film, there's something about him. When you got a DB like that, and he's not afraid to blitz A and B gaps. He's not afraid to get in there like this. Look at that. He's coming inside the tackle. I mean, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. And he's vicious. So When I watch his film, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this guy went undrafted. He's making all these plays in the backfield, a senior leader for this team, a leader for this team, a team that had some big wins, right? A team that had some big wins. You're seeing him make all these plays in the backfield, coming up, making great tackles. That's what I love about watching DBs. Are they physical? Are they ball hawks? Look at him come off the edge right there. The Niners love those nickel slot dogs. They'll run them cat blitzes or dog blitzes. So they'll run zone blitzes or man blitzes off that edge. And when they use the corner of the nickel there, that guy's got to be a dog. And what you see right here from Quantrez is he plays football the right way. Look at this, coming off the edge against who? Oh, that's Ty Davis Price. That's Ty Davis Price, y'all. So what's interesting is that he's making a lot of plays. And where's he making them from? All over the doggone football field. All over the doggone football field. You seen him at outside corner. You seen him coming off the nickel spot. You see him playing at safety depth. I don't see how this guy isn't on the practice squad. There's no way you can keep this guy off the practice squad at the very least. So when my concern was about safety, I actually project him to be a safety. I think the greatest thing about Quantrez is he can play nickel too. I see, look at this, coming up, making tackle at the line of scrimmage. Here he is from the free safety, coming all the way up and making a stop. Once again, look at this. He does not quit. Boom. I mean, he's just chasing the ball from sideline to sideline. And I love the fact that he likes to mix it up. But when I see him projected, I'm thinking I see Jimmy Ward in him. I see K'Wan Williams in him. In other words, well, remember, sometimes they would walk Jimmy down in cover one situations and have him play that nickel spot to be almost a dime corner. Well, I see these same traits in Quantrez. I think he's a guy that has position versatility. Again, he only ran a 4.5. Like, that's not fast anymore, right? But when I see him, he pops off the film. He pops out the film. Great senior leadership, good player, good form tackler, good fundamentals, makes a lot of plays, always around the football, and, has a lot of really, really good traits. There's no way this kid does not make the practice squad, at the very least. At the very least, we're looking at a practice squad player, and, I mean, if I'm Womack, remember that face. Remember that face, this guy. I'm telling you, there's something about him, you guys. There's something about this kid I really like. Quantrez, man. I can't believe he didn't get drafted, to be quite honest. It's just another guy like Donovan West, where I'm just like, and Tay Martin, like, this draft was so deep in the middle to the back end. It's really hard to evaluate guys. Really hard to evaluate guys. In this draft, because COVID gave people an extra year. So it was just so full of players. Actually, the perfect draft for the Niners not to have a first round pick. Quite frankly, there could not have been a better draft because of COVID. It just stacked this draft. I see a guy like Quantrez. I'm just like, this is a guy I want on my football team. This is a guy that can play multiple positions. His position versatility is intriguing. From free safety to nickel, come on. If you can play free safety to nickel, if you can come up and tackle like he does in the box, and I feel comfortable with you playing strong safety. In the NFL, your strong safety better be able to play free safety. You got to have that position versatility. That's why you see Talanoa come off the field sometimes. I like Talanoa. But he's almost a hybrid where he could play a strong safety to outside linebacker, right? Similar to Marcel Harris, kind of the Marcel Harris role that they used last year. You put a speed linebacker on the field when teams are maybe playing you in certain personnel groupings, and it's kind of like you're not giving up as much in the pass. That's what I like about Talanoa. Well, you get a guy like Quantrez Knight, and all of a sudden it's like, well, man, now I got another nickel on. I got another free safety on the field. So it's going to depend on how strong he gets and how well he can adapt to the 49er system. But I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued by this guy. I did not expect it. But the more I watch his film, the more I see him, how, you just kind of get glimpses of how he interacts with his teammates. Leader from Florida. I just a ball hawk, absolute ball hawk. And of course, because he didn't run a 4.3, he's not drafted, right? But I'm telling you, he puts the pads on. He plays really fast. Quantrez Knight's on the practice squad at the very least. A lot of these guys are going to be pushing vets off the team. There's vets, that are going to be like, whoa, we got some guys that are hunting for my job. And I think that bodes well for competition for the Niners. I'm glad there's extra spots on the practice squad, as opposed to what it was in the past, because this is the type of player that could really have a big impact. Next player I want to look at is somebody that you might be familiar with, Jason Poe. Well, how intriguing is Jason Poe? They list him here at 6'2", 295. But we know he's closer to 6'1", 300. He's running a sub 5. Some people say anywhere down to a 4.8 40. And really gets a lot of good pub. Now, you might have seen this kid out there running routes, right? Running routes, catching the ball with his hands. He played a little bit of fullback. What's intriguing to me is that Kyle always keeps one tight end to block. He does not keep this tight end to catch. Now, he's got to be able to catch, but he doesn't keep him to do that. When you think back to Logan Paulson, right? Logan Paulson was kind of that prototypical guy. But Jason Poe is intriguing because he could be used as kind of a Will Tukuafu type guy. He doesn't play defensive line. He could play offensive line. But then if he could back up at guard, if he could play a third role tight end, if he could be in a jumbo package in the backfield, if you could use him legitimately in these roles, then there's a role for him. In the 80s, I remember the Niners would use guys like Guy McIntyre or Jesse Sapolo. They were about the size of Jason Poe. And they could work within the zone blocking scheme because of their quickness and their agility. Well, defensive linemen have gotten big, right? You just look at the Niners defensive linemen with Kinlaw and Armstead. These guys are giants. But he does have leverage, and he's intriguing. Let's turn on the film, and let's watch. Look at this beast right here, number 51, right? Oh, boy, is big. He's not tall, but he's big. You got to love his mobility. Watch him get out. See, that's a jump kick back to the screen. Let me get on somebody and flat back him, right? And he likes it. He celebrates it. So he's an athlete. You can see him move well. You can see him move really well. He likes the fact he got his guy on the ground. A little double team at the point of attack. Playing against good competition here. And, to be playing against Alabama and, doing a good job with your blocks is good to get on film, right? I do not project him as a guard. He's got to be able to play center in the NFL. You can't play guard that undersized anymore in the NFL. You can, but you can't. Center, you can, okay? Because centers help out guards. Centers are the guys that get help from guards in run blocking and help out guards in pass blocking. So it's a position you can protect in the NFL is the center position. Guards oftentimes are going to get ISO'd. Okay, they're going to get ISO when that center goes to help on with the other guard. Well, the left guard or whichever guard he leaves is ISO'd, and so I see Jason Poe. I mean, he played all across the board. I love his speed, quickness, and tenacity. But Jason's got to be able to intrigue the Niners in a multitude of ways. That's a nice little trap block on a run play. You see him getting out in front right here, doing a great job. I'd like to see him stay on his feet. Okay, you want to see him stay on his feet and extend his hands. Some of his technique issue can be very, very easily fixed with a good offensive line coach, and the Niners have one of the best in the league with Chris Forrester. But you can't teach a first step like Jason's got. And he's got great hunger. He plays to the whistle. I'm intrigued by the dude. I really am. He's got good film. He plays to the whistle. And the fact he's really strong, really fast, really athletic, can use his hands, bodes well for him. But unfortunately for him, they played him out of position at Mercer, right? It's tough because he's only 6'1". Well, guess what? Some guys at 6'1" are absolute monsters. On the opposite side of the ball, he's similar in size to a guy like Aaron Donald. So Aaron Donald was kind of deemed not big enough to play defensive line, but because of his freak athleticism, he was able to do it. You wonder if a guy like Jason Poe can do the same thing. You wonder if now there he is at fullback in jumbo package, right? This is what you want to see the Niners be able to say. It's like, okay, we could play this guy. He could be our backup center, our third string or fourth string tight end, our backup fullback. He plays on all special teams except for maybe kickoff. Is this a guy we can get up on the 53? That's what's intriguing. And, you know, of course, Kyle's very creative with his offensive schemes. And the great thing, that's just a beautiful block. Him taking his guy to the ground, blocking to the end of the whistle. He actually picks up a fumble here. Nice little play. But Kyle's very creative. Kyle's, you know, we saw what he did polling Trent Williams, kind of put him in the backfield, tackle eligible stuff against Green Bay. Well, if you got a guy like Poe, you can do a lot of creative things with him. Here he is pulling like a fullback. This is against Alabama. I mean, again, pulling, kicking, putting his guy on the ground. Great body position on that play. Getting out, kicking. You guys notice he likes to chest people up. There's a nice trap block. Okay. Pulling, getting outside, getting to the second level. Like to see him keep his feet. But again, doing a nice job. Lot to like about Jason Poe. How can you keep Jason Poe off the practice squad? Right? How can you keep this guy off the practice squad? I think Jason Poe's got a great chance at least being on the practice squad. And what's interesting is you get Jason Poe in the NFL locker room and you get him developed to where he cuts a little bit of the body fat, puts on more muscle. All of a sudden, you got a guy that can play tight end, fullback, center, man, all the special teams except maybe kickoff. But if he gets in great shape, you could probably put him on the kickoff team as well. So if he can really translate his game to play exceptional special teams, if he can hybrid and play multiple positions, he's got a chance at the 53. At the very least, I think you gotta think that Jason Poe's going to make the practice squad. I like it. I'm just encouraged. I'm encouraged by this pick. I like taking a flyer on a guy that plays the game the right way. Maybe he's a little undersized, right? But he plays the game the right way. And so Jason Poe, y'all. I mean, he translates well. He never gives up. Plays to the whistle. Had good tape against Alabama. There's a lot to like. I can't really say anything negative about his game other than the fact that some of his fundamentals are a little off. He doesn't always stay on his feet. He doesn't use his hands as good as he should. But these are small adjustments that Forster's going to have done in 2 weeks. I'm telling you. See how he's using his shoulders there instead of shooting his hands? He's got to learn to shoot his hands, okay? But this stuff is gonna happen. I'll tell you, this stuff is easily fixable. So with that said, really like the fact that we were able to pick up a guy like Jason Poe as an undrafted free agent. Come on. It's just ridiculous for us to be able to do that. If you're in here watching, please hit the like button, subscribe, comment. I'll even throw the link in there for you to join if you want to join live and talk about it. So I'm always open to talk to anybody about stuff. You guys want me to break down certain players, get deeper into X's and O's, we can do that. But I'm just thankful for anybody that's here or watching at any time. Please like and share. And a longtime Niner fan. I've been a head football coach for 2 different high schools, so I just want to be able to share my love for the Niners and share my knowledge for the game and just, dig in, you guys. Let's get in. We ain't done. We are not done. We are not done, you guys. We got more to get into, and I'm excited about it. 2 players I want to look at. I'm not going to look at their film, but just for sake of time, but I want to show you 2 guys that I think have a chance of being on the practice squad. Kevin Atkins, intriguing. If you look at his senior year, he had 41 tackles, okay? 7 sacks from the defensive tackle position. Fresno State did not have an easy schedule. I believe they played UCLA and Oregon this last year. 7 sacks, 41 tackles, 13 tackles for loss. Kevin Atkins, man, you are going to the wrong team, bro. The fact that you signed an undrafted free agent, maybe you could stay at home so it doesn't cost a lot for you to be in the Bay, bro. But Niners have an extremely deep defensive line. But you know what? He's got the tape. He's got the athletic ability. He's intriguing to me, you guys. He really is. It's just we are loaded at the defensive line. If we weren't loaded as much as we were, I'd be like, Kevin Atkins makes the practice squad. There's still a chance. There's still a chance he does because of the added added guys that the NFL's enabled teams to have on the practice squad, I think there's a chance that he does make the practice squad. The fact that Clea Davis likely is going to be on injured reserve his first year bodes well for Kevin Atkins. Guys like Mo Hurst and these others that are a little long in the tooth and maybe more injury prone bodes well for Kevin Atkins. The fact that, I don't believe Kentavious Street has been signed yet, bodes well for him. So he's got some Kevin Givens in him. I think that he could be a guy. He's got to get stronger. He really does got to get stronger. But that's what an NFL locker room does. The next guy I want to take just a peek at is Taysir Mack. Okay. Now Taysir's intriguing. 4.47 at 6'2". Didn't have a ton of receptions for Pitt, but he was their big play guy. Averaging over 15 yards a reception. You can see here it says 27 receptions. I think it was closer to 30. But 17 yards. I mean, this is a guy that took the top off, right? At 6'2". So while I like Tay Martin more, Taysir Mack is intriguing because he's got that big play ability and he's 6'2". I mean, very, very intriguing. And I don't think that he makes the team, obviously, but there's a chance that he makes the practice squad, both him and Tay Martin. I think Tay Martin, if he shows out, could maybe be the sixth receiver. We'll see. When you look at the depth chart of the Niners, and this isn't completely accurate, but when you look at it, wide receiver, I mean, just look at this. This is absolutely crazy. Brandon Ayuk, Danny Gray, Deebo Samuel. Of course, we know that they're on the team. Of course, with Deebo, we don't know what's up with Deebo, but let's just assume he's going to be around. Marcus Johnson is a guy we picked up in free agency that's been a very productive receiver when healthy. Keyshawn Johnson has had success in the NFL. He's a very talented player. I mean, he's nothing to... Austin Mack, not a bad prospect coming out of college. Connor Weddington, Taysir Mack, Tay Martin, Malik Turner is a nice player. Now, Malik Turner is a nice player, you guys. Malik Turner is a special teams ace along with being a nice player. Ray McLeod, of course, gives you that position versatility to run those fly sweeps, can work out of the backfield, a big play guy, that guy with juice that can also be the punt returner, kick returner. And then Jawan Jennings, a guy that I think is just coming on extremely well. Who is the sixth receiver? If you go Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, there's three. You got to think Danny Gray is going to be the fourth just because of his draft status, etc. The fifth, you would think, was probably going to go to Ray McLeod. Give me the number 6 receiver. It's nearly impossible. Between Marcus Johnson, Malik Turner, Keyshawn Johnson, Taysir Mack, and Tay Martin, and Austin Mack. I mean, I think it's between Malik Turner and Tay Martin. That would be the two guys I pick. But if you have a receiving core, the 6, and oftentimes they only suit up 5. But if you got the top 6 of Ayuk, Deebo, Jawan, Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, and Malik Turner, sheesh. I think that's more depth. The Niners have seen at wide receiver in a long time. Again, I'm a big Malik Turner fan. Dallas was loaded at wide receiver last year. You guys know with Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. So he was their 4th guy. But he plays really well on special teams. I've always liked Malik Turner, and he's still young enough. I think he's only 26 years old. So he's not a guy that you have to feel like you got to move on from because of his age. He's a guy that you could still have around for 3 to 5 years, more likely 3 to 4. But Tay Martin, I think he's a guy that definitely makes the practice squad. Keyshawn Johnson, Marcus Johnson, I feel bad for him because he's a quality receiver and I see him getting cut. But what a deep group of wide receivers for the Niners. Come on, let's go. What a deep group. I'm just blown away at that group, you guys. That group is fire. So now we look at the offensive line. Trent Williams, Colton McKivitz, Alex Mack, Daniel Brunskill, and Mike McGlinchey. Colton McKivitz played well in his spot time. Brunskill has always been an overachiever. People could say what they want, but you notice they talk so much smack about him in the offseason, and they ain't got much bad to say about him during the season. He gets it done. Brunskill gets it done. one of my favorite players because everybody hates on him. He doesn't make a lot of money, but he is, man, he gets it done and he plays hard. He plays hard, and every defense tries to scheme him up to put their best guy on him one-on-one, and he just holds it down. In fact, you saw bigger mistakes from other linemen last year than you did Daniel. So I've always been a Brunskill fan. If Alex Mack retires, I see Brunskill likely moving down to center and battling it out with Jake Brendel and Donovan West, but I don't see why he can't continue to play right guard either. McGlinchey's interesting. Is he going to be able to come back and play at a high level? We don't know. All right. Nick Zakel, really talented player, a lot better in short area quickness, does a great job on reach blocking. I like that pick out of Fordham. Good size. Aaron Banks is a monster. Is the dog going to come out of Aaron Banks this year? That's what everybody's hoping for. Jake Brendel, good center prospect. Justin Skoll, as a rookie, was starting at right tackle on an undefeated 49ers team. Now he's back from injury. Jalen Moore played really well in spots as a rookie last year. He's played tackle. I like him better at guard. But, if something was to go wrong with McGlinchey, I could see him starting at right tackle. You see him listed as backup to Trent right here. So I see him battling for that right tackle spot because, again, McGlinchey's not a for certain guy. Spencer Burford is one of my favorite draft picks. He's an absolute dog. He's going to battle for the guard position with, I believe, they have him at tackle here. I do not see him projected to play tackle in the NFL. I see him at left guard, and I see him battling with Aaron Banks, and I see those two guys nearly fist fighting to try to see who's going to be the starter at left guard. That's what I see. And Spencer Burford is going to bring the best out of Aaron Banks because Aaron Banks, you better get that dog out right now because Burford's going to come to play. He's not as talented as you, Aaron, but he's got some dog in him. He's got some absolute dog in him. Jason Poe, we talked about him. What a freak. What a freak this dude is, right? Donovan West, very solid center prospect. Some draft analysts had him listed the number 2 best center in the draft. 6'4", 300, good quickness, good athleticism, needs to get stronger. At the very least, Donovan's on the practice squad. If Alex Mack retires, I would not be surprised to see him on the 53. And then Sam Schluter, a rookie free agent, big. Okay, I would say he reminds me of a Justin Skoll or a Daniel Brunskill coming out of college. But you look at the depth of that offensive line, it's very deep. Do you see a lot of guys that pop off as just like all pro talent? Not really. But you see, well, I would say that talent's there, but as far as, experience, it's not. Of course, we have Trent Williams. There's only one Trent Williams. Alex Mack, I would expect him to play. I didn't initially. I do now because I think he would have retired before the draft if he was going to retire. I think he would have done the Niners similar to how Joe Staley did. I think he would have done that for them. So I expect him to play one last year. But you're still going to need a guy like Donovan West. You never know with Alex. He's older. He could get injured. You're still going to need a guy like Donovan West or Jason Poe. I mean, I really like what the Niners have done. And let's not forget about old Alfredo Gutierrez. This guy is athletic and big. And I remember Trent Williams saying, I believe he can make it. I believe he can play in the NFL. I remember Trent Williams saying that. He had no reason to say that. He had no reason to openly say that. He straight up said he believes he can make it. And from what I saw, Alfredo was continually getting better and better and better. He's a big boy. And he's freaky athletic in a weird way. So I wouldn't count old Alfredo out either. What an intriguing player he is out of Mexico, right? What an intriguing player. And I really hope Alfredo got in the weight room because his upper body was a little bit weak. But he's a great athlete for his size. Reminds me a lot of Mike McGlinchey, to be quite honest. The tight end position, of course, we got Jorge Kittle and if not the best in the league, one of the best in the league. Ross Dwelly, very solid backup player. Charlie Warner. Now, I like Charlie, but, Tanner could compete for that job. Jordan Matthews, obviously, is just a tweener guy, practice squad guy. But, we don't use Charlie Warner enough to warrant that position if Jason Poe can just be a freak. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't use 3 tight end sets that often. And when we do, that third tight end is a blocker. We don't use Charlie Warner very often, And when we do, he's a blocker. And when he's not a blocker, he's wide open and anybody could catch the rock because it's obvious, it's a rundown play action. So it's not a guy that we're splitting out and using in roles like we do Kittle or Dwelly or even somebody like Juice, right? So I have that hope that Jason Poe can get in the best shape of his life and be like, yo, I could be your third tight end and your backup fullback and a backup offensive lineman. So you need me on the roster, right? Does that make sense? But at the very least, I think Jason Poe can do that. And if he does that, they'd be like, hey, let's put him on the practice squad at least, right? Because this guy's a freak. He can play everywhere. The quarterback position, Trey Lance, Nate Sudfeld, Brock Purdy. I anticipate Jimmy Garoppolo being on the team. I do. And I think that he will not show up to training camp. I do not think he will be around the team at all. But I anticipate them keeping him on the team until a team is quarterback hungry. Okay, so at the trade deadline in the NFL, there are bad teams that need to get a quarterback so they can keep their season ticket holders happy. And there are decent teams or even good teams that their starting quarterback gets hurt. And at that point, the trade deadline, they need a quarterback. Well, that's at the time that Jimmy's going to be healthy. There's ways that the Niners could get rid of Jimmy, but you guys know how the Niners front office works. They value their players. They're not going to get rid of Jimmy for nothing. They're not just going to cut him. They want to get something for him. And so I think the best bet for them at this point, because of his surgery, is for them to keep him. They could stick him on the IR, and then he'll be, ready to roll when trade deadline comes. And by that time, there's always a team or two that's hungry for a quarterback. Maybe Miami, maybe Tua. Maybe Tua has a subpar year and they got all this talent invested. And, Mike McDaniels knows what he can get with Jimmy at least. He knows what he can get. So they take a flyer on Jimmy down in Miami. Or maybe Houston. It's not working for... who do they got? Davies at quarterback. So they take a flyer. Or maybe it's Carolina, or maybe it's the New York Giants. There's going to be teams that are struggling, that want to make a move, that are tired of the same old, same old. Right now, everybody's happy, right? Because the pads aren't on. Everybody thinks they got the right guy in position. But things change quickly when the pads come on in the NFL. So that's what I anticipate from the Niners with Jimmy. I think ultimately Brock Purdy will beat out Nate Sudfeld in the long term. This year, I see Purdy on the practice squad, and Sudfeld is our backup. Going into next year, I think it's a very strong likelihood that Purdy beats out Sudfeld. I like him. Who he reminds me of is Johnny Football. Brock Purdy reminds me of Johnny Manziel without the ego. He's actually got more touch on his passes than Johnny. But he's got that sneaky athletic ability. Not a great athlete, but he's got real sneaky athletic ability. Now, in the running back room, Elijah Mitchell, obviously, I expect to have a great year, a great season. Really did well for a rookie. Considering the amount of games he played, the amount of injuries he went through, what a warrior. Ty Davis Price, I like Ty Davis Price. I don't like drafting running backs in the third round. I don't like that at all. Don't ever do that. But if you feel good about the pick, you feel good about the pick. Interesting note. Maybe I'm reading more into this than I should. But we all know that longtime 49ers running back coach stepped down. They have a new running back coach. And so the old idea of using your running back coach to help, fulfill draft needs and whatnot kind of slipped away. But what we heard was that Mike Shanahan was spending a lot of time at the 49ers facility, and that Mike typically just sits in his office watching film. And word came out that when Ty Davis Price came, John Lynch introduced himself to him. Mike Shanahan introduced himself to Ty Davis Price. Interesting. Don't you guys find that interesting? Because apparently Mike Shanahan doesn't even come out to BS with Lynch and everybody. John Lynch was on record saying you got to go into his office if you want to talk to him. They gave him an office. Why wouldn't you? 2 Super Bowls as a head coach, more Super Bowls with the Niners, just an absolute legend, right? Do you guys think it's possible that Kyle was like, hey, come scout me a running back? And Mike Shanahan was like, this is your guy? I see Davis in that name, and he's got a little Terrell Davis to him. I see a little bit of Robert Smith with toughness. I see a little bit of Marshawn Lynch. I like what I see out of Ty Davis Price. He's got to hold on to the rock. That's one thing that, I don't like drafting a running back in the third round. But if he plays the way I think he can, I really like him on our team. Ty Davis Price has a great jump cut and great one cut downhill running for a guy his size. Great speed, great in-game GPS. His in-game speed jumps off the charts. Now, LSU struggled last year. They weren't a very good football team, but he still averaged 5 yards a carry in the SEC. And he runs tough. Again, what I see out of this draft class is toughness. I see guys that are going to come in with some dog in them. You understand? I see some guys that are going to come in and really challenge the guys that are on the roster. So if you're a guy like Trey Sermon, you're having the best offseason in your life. You're getting in the best shape of your life because Ty Davis Price is coming in to take your money, bro. Ty Davis Price is coming in to take your carries, your roster spot. So you got to think about that. You got to think about the competition that's coming into this locker room. Really like Ty Davis Price as a 49er. Don't like drafting running backs in the third round, but I like him on the team. Jeff Wilson Jr. We all love Jeff Wilson Jr. We hope he can come back from, that surgery. He's a good special teams player as well. So there's always room for Jeff Wilson in case we need him. But last year he came back. He wasn't quite the guy. I don't think he was fully recovered from that knee injury. JaMycal Hasty, I kind of look as a guy on the bubble. I think that JaMycal filled a role the last couple of years. I don't think it's a role that the Niners will keep this year. The reason is because JaMycal couldn't fill the role when we needed a guy. We had to go to Debo when we needed a guy. They didn't feel comfortable going to JaMycal. So I think JaMycal's on the bubble, and I don't see him making the team. I really don't. Usually keep 4 backs, maybe 5, one on the practice squad. And what I see the Niners doing is keeping Mitchell, obviously Elijah Mitchell, Ty Davis Price, obviously, Trey Sermon, Jordan Mason, and that last guy being Jeff Wilson. I think JaMycal Hasty's gone. I don't think he presents enough special teams value to stay on the team. Yeah, kick returner, he doesn't do punt returner, kick returner, but there's other guys we got on the team that can fill that role, specifically a guy like Ray McLeod. Jordan Mason, he's the type of guy that runs tough. We watched the film. We broke down his film. So I see him being on the practice squad. And I would think that the Niners would be like, he kind of fits our role of what we need more than a JaMycal Hasty. So I see Elijah Mitchell, Ty Davis Price, Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon, and Jordan Mason on the team. Jordan Mason will probably be on the practice squad. Jeff Wilson, you better be in the best shape of your life. You better be back 100%. Or you will be the one on the bubble. Of course, Juice is our fullback. Josh Hokett will be there in camp. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, I mean, whoo. Wow, this defensive line from edge inside is just phenomenal. The D Ford will likely, look, if he could come back and ball out and have a tremendous camp, nobody's going to hate against that, but can they do something with that contract and just get rid of him? Ebukam, you're on the bubble. You came on good at the end of the last year, but you're on the bubble because Kamiko Toure right behind you can flat play. And he's very similar to you. So you're going to have to outshine him a lot to earn your contract because Kamiko's contract is more team friendly than Ebukam. So there's a competition right there between those two guys. Jordan Willis, good special teams player, solid backup defensive end. And Alex Barrett, I've always liked Alex Barrett, but he's just never been good enough to crack this rotation. You go inside now to defensive tackle, Kinlaw coming off that injury. He says he's healthier now than he's been since college. He's played good football when healthy. I won't say great, good football when he's healthy, and he's never been healthy as he is right now. Niner fans got to be encouraged by what they see about Javon Kinlaw right now. He's feeling great. Kevin Givens, we know that Kevin Givens has always been an overachiever and played really good football. So I like Kevin Givens this year coming back. Mo Hurst is a good player when healthy. He just can't stay healthy. So we got to like the fact that he's on the roster. Kevin Atkins, of course, out of Fresno State. Chris Slayton, another good defensive lineman that on a lot of teams would be maybe in the, looking at getting a 53-man spot. Kalia Davis, likely on the IR, great burst. Great first step guy. Hassan Ridgeway. Now, Kalia Davis actually reminds me of Hassan Ridgeway. I like Hassan Ridgeway. I've always liked Hassan Ridgeway. He's a great burst guy, similar to DJ Jones. Gets off the doggone ball. So I'm really anxious to see what Kasurik can do with Ridgeway. And then Eric Armstead. What's interesting is I think what the Niners could do is use Ridgeway and Givens at the 1 tech and Mo Hurst and keep Kinlaw as a backup for Armstead at the 3 tech. This way you're not putting too much on Kinlaw to start the season, not too much on that leg. Now they could of course use them both. Kinlaw could play the 1 tech, Armstead could play the 3 tech. Don't get me wrong. I think that's ideal. But if you're looking to kind of work Kinlaw in, there's still a lot of depth at defensive tackle. You also have to consider that Kerry Hyder could play down at the 3 tech and 1 tech in pass situations. Charles Menahu sitting here as a 4th stringer along with Jordan Willis, and these are guys that would be good backups on any other NFL team, right? Drake Jackson is just a freak, absolute freak. I love that pick. I love that pick at 61. I was calling for an edge, and a lot of people were like, I don't know about edges. And I'm like, no, you can never have too many edges. Nobody thought we would be in a position where Deebo Samuel would be holding out right now. Nobody's thinking we're going to be in a position where Nick Bosa's holding out at this point next year either, do they? Now, they picked up the 5th-year option on Nick, but remember, when guys are looking for contracts, they're looking for contracts, and they don't care if you pick up their option or not. So it's important every couple of years to draft an edge. It's important every couple of years to draft an edge because it's a premier position in the NFL, and the good ones demand a lot of money, and sometimes they walk. So I love the fact that we got Drake Jackson there. Some people don't anticipate him starting. I don't think he has to start. I think he could. What I see for Drake Jackson in his first season for the Niners is him filling that Arden Key role. Okay, he's the type of guy that played in the 4-3 and a 3-4 position. He played all the way from a 3-4 to a 5 technique, all the way outside to a 9. Right, so this guy can play inside and out. I see him play in that Arden Key position where he can rush off the edge, or you can put him over a guard. You guys can watch film of him doing both. He has great movement in his hips, flexibility, bend. He uses his hands well. Freak athlete. He's got everything you want. His first step can get better because he's such a good athlete. And if there's one thing that Chris Kasurik works on, it's the get off. So he's going to, that's one thing that he's going to be able to develop with the 49ers. Love the Drake Jackson pick. Would not be surprised if he's starting, but he doesn't need to start to be an impact player. They might not start him. They might, start a guy like Ebukam or maybe Hyder gets a start out there. Maybe they start Armstead out there sometimes. But I would not be surprised, or maybe Kamiko Toure comes on, or Jordan Willis, or Charles Omenihu, but Drake Jackson, man, I like that guy. Can't wait to see him work with Nick Bosa. Those two together for the next 5 years. Let's go. Linebacker, Warner, and I don't even know who you cut. I don't even know who you cut on this defensive line. You got to let these guys eat. You got to let them play. I think Ebukam's salary hurts him. I think it hurts him. Because Toure is going to show you what he got. I mean, Kamiko Toure can play football. So Ebukam's got to really ball out. He had injuries last year. He's got to really ball out to keep that roster spot. That's all I got to say. At the linebacker position, Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair, Oren Brooks, and all these guys, I'm sorry, but you're not going to make the team. One of you might make the practice squad. We're just too deep at linebacker. Dre Greenlaw, Demetrius Flanagan fouls. It makes sense that we would keep a couple or at least one on the practice squad. Curtis Robinson, obviously, because Dre Greenlaw is coming up for a contract. I do not anticipate the Niners signing him because Al-Shaair and Flanagan fouls play such good football. I love Dre Greenlaw, but that's just where it is. The cornerback position, all of a sudden we have depth. All of a sudden we have depth. Now, they have Taylor Hawkins listed at corner here. I foresee him playing safety. Maybe I'm wrong, but I see Taylor Hawkins playing safety for the Niners. But you have Ambry Thomas and Jason Verrett, Diamado Lenore, Charvarius Ward, Dante Johnsons, Tariq Castro-Field, and Kadar Hallman. Now, don't forget, Emmanuel Mosley, Samuel Womack, and Darquez Denard. They got Mosley starting at the nickel, right? Hey, maybe. I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I just love Emmanuel Mosley at that left corner position. I think he's done a really good job since his rookie year playing left corner. I almost want somebody like Ambry or Verrett, right, to play that. I want somebody a little bit more squattier, a little bit more stickier in man coverage. Don't get me wrong. Mosley can play the nickel. But I kind of envision Mosley at the corner with Charvarius at the other corner. And then, Ambry or Verrett or Quantrez Knight. Come on, somebody. They got him at safety here. I think he could play the nickel, though. Diamador Lenore in year 2, the guy can play football, y'all. He could win that nickel job. Womack is a dog. Really intriguing what the Niners have at the cornerback position. You have position versatility from a lot of these guys. I think you can put Charvarius at a lock at one corner. But at the other cornerback position, is Verrett going to come back to form and say, yo, this is my spot? Or is Ambry going to take another step and just be elite? Or is Mosley going to be like, did y'all forget about me? I'm the starter out here. So I love the competition we have at outside corner in those 4 spots. And then you look at guys like Diamador Lenore, who got good playing time. You look at a draft prospect like Sam Womack, who is a dog, right? And then, other guys like Castro Fields. I love Tariq Castro Fields, but I see him as more of an outside corner. So I don't see Dante Johnson making the team. I just don't see Dante Johnson making the team. I see Castro Fields being better than Dante Johnson. So there's a lot of position versatility at these cornerback positions. It's intriguing. Strong safety, free safety. It's interesting they have Jimmy Ward listed at strong safety here and George Odom at free safety. Isn't that interesting? I would flip that. Obviously. But I think those guys could be the starters, with Hufanga coming in spot roles like he did last year and Tavarius Moore being the backup. Quantrez Knight, if you're going to be my backup to Jimmy Ward, I like it because I watched you pop off the film. I see Taylor Hawkins getting in here at this safety role. I think Taylor Hawkins is a better player than Leon O'Neal, but they're going to be battling for that spot on the practice squad. We're deep, you guys. What a deep roster. And then, of course, we got Bob Gold. Robbie Gold is our kicker. Wishnowski is our punter. And Tabor Pepper's been solid since he's been here. And then Ray McLeod and Brandon Ayuk as punt and kick returners. I don't see Jermichael Hasty making this team. So with that said, that's my breakdown of the undrafted free agents. You got some players, you guys. I think this roster is as deep as it's ever been in the John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan era. And I think we can be encouraged about that. Oftentimes, we want to break stuff down. It gets a little doom and gloom. It gets a little negative. I'm encouraged. Of course, we have the Jimmy situation. We have the Debo situation. But even with those situations, the Niners are in a really good spot. I mean, I'm telling you, even in the Debo situation, the Niners are in a good spot because it's hard at that 6 wide receiver position. Marcus Johnson, do you not make the team? I mean, you're good when you're Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, these are capable players. Malik Turner, Tay Martin. These are guys that Kyle Shanahan can get some money out of. I'm telling you. These are guys that can make plays. And so I'm really encouraged about what I see from the 49ers roster. I hope you are too. Please join the party anytime you want. And share this. Would you share? Would you subscribe? I appreciate you joining me. Let me know I got my email in the about section. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Clarence. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here, brother. And if you want to join sometime, Clarence, you just let me know. You throw a comment in there. You feel free to jump on. We can chop football. I can throw the link in the chat. Thank you for spreading the word, my friend. Go Niners, and God bless you.